The train rattled through the night. Emily watched the city lights blur into streaks of color. The last train home was her sanctuary. Empty carriages, the rhythmic hum of the engine, a peaceful solitude she cherished. Tonight, however, felt different. A chill snaked down her spine. The air hung heavy, thick with an unseen tension. Emily shifted uncomfortably in her seat. Her eyes darted around the carriage, searching for the source of her unease. The only other passenger was a man shrouded in shadow at the far end. His face was obscured by a wide-brimmed hat. He exuded an aura of mystery. Emily tried to shake off the feeling of being watched, but it clung to her like cobwebs. The train screeched as it rounded a bend. Emily's gaze was drawn back to the man. He had shifted, leaning forward, a glint of something metallic flashing in his hand. Fear tightened its grip on her chest. Her heart pounded against her ribs like a trapped bird. He looked up, catching her eye. His face was etched with shadows, his eyes two burning embers in the darkness. He spoke, his voice a raspy whisper that seemed to slither through the air. "This train," he rasped, "it doesn't always go where it should." Emily recoiled, clutching her bag tightly. Her mind raced, torn between fear and disbelief. The man's words hung in the air, heavy with unspoken menace. "This stop," he continued, his voice gaining strength, "it's not on any map. Don't get off." The train lurched to a halt, plunging them into darkness. Emily's breath caught in her throat. The doors hissed open, revealing a platform shrouded in mist. She hesitated, her instincts screaming at her to stay put. But the urge to escape the man's presence was overwhelming. Ignoring his warning, she grabbed her bag and fled into the night. She didn't look back. The doors slammed shut behind her, the sound echoing through the silence like a death knell. Section 4. A desolate station. Emily stood alone on the platform, enveloped by an eerie silence. The fog was thick, cloying, suffocating. She couldn't see more than a few feet in front of her. Panic clawed at her throat. Where was she? This wasn't her station. The air was heavy with the scent of damp earth and something else. Something metallic and sharp. She strained to hear any sound, any sign of life, but there was nothing. Only the oppressive silence and the swirling fog. A wave of dizziness washed over her. Her legs felt weak, unsteady. She had made a terrible mistake. Section 5. Lost in the eerie silence. Emily stumbled forward, her hand outstretched, searching for something, anything to guide her. The fog seemed to cling to her, pulling her deeper into its embrace. She called out for help, her voice swallowed by the silence. Desperation gnawed at her. She was lost, utterly and terrifyingly lost. The platform stretched endlessly in both directions, swallowed by the swirling gray. Time lost all meaning. Minutes? Hours? She had no way of knowing. Fear had become her only companion. It whispered in her ear, feeding her doubts, amplifying her terror. Section 6. Trapped in a nightmare. As the last vestiges of hope began to dwindle, she stumbled upon a signpost. Its paint was peeling, the lettering barely visible through the fog. It pointed down a path leading away from the platform, into the heart of the swirling gray abyss. "Exit," it read, the letters dripping with something that resembled blood. Emily hesitated, her heart pounding in her chest. Was this the way out? Or was it a path leading deeper into this nightmare? She had no other choice. With a shuddering breath, she stepped off the platform and into the fog. The last train home had taken her somewhere she never intended to go, a place where fear was the only certainty.